back. This is the Two Dumb Yinzers. This is episode 473. We got Mike in the Two Dumb Yinzers Steelers Central mobile studio. Derpy coming from wherever it is that Derpy comes from. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm having a damn good day. Having a
Derpy,
great day.
how you doing,
It's
Derpy?
hump day. It's hump day. Having a
It is
great
hump
day.
day. All right, I don't know what that means, but we'll run with that. Derpy's having a great day because it's hump day. Guys, how many times have you looked at your Steelers schedule throughout the years and seen the Ravens or the Browns at the very end, and you say to yourself, that game is going to be meaningful. That it's going to come down to that game at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
This season is no different. We said that at the very beginning. I remember going through the schedule, Mike, and kind of just giving our opinion of how the year was going to go, and that ultimately being what it always finishes up with, where you say, and then Baltimore at the end of the year, and I'm sure that game will mean something. Well, that game definitely means nothing. We are in a new chapter of this Baltimore Pittsburgh rivalry, and here are a few things that I gathered from this game, guys. It
Mm-hmm.
might be relevant. Now, yesterday I was talking about my main concern is what players will be playing for Baltimore, who
Yeah.
they'll be sitting, who they'll be playing. So this was said for straight from the horse's mouth. John Harbaugh says he's not going to hide the availability. He said he's going to they're going to take a look and see how the injury thing looks around the team, and then they're going to focus, basically split their focus on the Steelers in the playoffs. And I like the way that sounds, because that
Mm-hmm.
means they've already accomplished what they wanted to accomplish in the regular season. This game means nothing to the Ravens. Playoffs are what's important. They already did what they had to do. And if they lose this game, it means nothing. If this, whatever that means, if that means maybe these guys will come in and have like a series, maybe, like, and I'm talking, when I say these guys, I mean, Lamar Jackson
Yeah.
for the most part. But it really seems to me that they're overlooking this. And one thing that we don't want to forget, guys, the Steelers beat the Ravens 6 of the 7 last meetings we played them. So, for a lot of people that are counting us out, don't get me wrong, the
Keep
Ravens are
doubting.
red hot. They're red hot, no two ways about it. But if you're not worried about this round, and you're worried about keeping your players healthy and preparing for the next round, that heavily goes in our favor, guys.
It does. But remember last year though, we did lose to their backup. That's
Yeah,
like for some odd reason we have no trouble with Lamar. It's like if they have their backup and we have trouble with, but uh if I'm Baltimore though, I'm playing my starters. I'm knocking Pittsburgh out. I'm knocking my divisional rival out. But if Harbaugh wants to take it, and rest these guys and see how they play through practice throughout the week, I'm okay with that. That whatever gives the Steelers a better chance to win, I'm down for it. And like Ryan said, we're what 6 of the last 8 we've won against them.
6 of the last 7.
6 of the last 7, excuse me. Yeah. So I had Yarmer Yager on the brain because who doesn't have Yager on the brain? But yeah,
Right?
6 of the last 7. With the quarterback play that we have, with the offensive play that we've had, I'll take that.
I think that what it's going to come down to, guys, is which Steeler team shows up. If the Steeler team that cares, and the Steeler team that played like they played last week, and
Mm-hmm.
the Steeler team that plays with heart, and the Steeler team that runs people over, their running backs run people
Yeah.
over, and the Steeler team that does all the things that have played. Now, and a lot of people could easily say, so what? You want the team, where Mason Rudolph came out and did really well. Yes and no. It isn't all about Mason. It's about the whole team. If this whole
Yeah.
team comes out and they play like they want to win this game, like this is the most important game of their lives, like this is a do or die. That's
Mm-hmm.
I feel that we have a
That's the
good
Pittsburgh
opportunity.
Steelers.
I feel that if they come out and play like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they want to be in contention, and they want to make the playoffs and make a run and try to win a game or whatever in the playoffs, I think that this game is totally winnable. And it just all depends on which Steeler team comes, because the Ravens aren't going to play everybody 100%. They're not going to
No.
play to win this football game. Uh, so it's going to come down to which Steeler team shows up, and hopefully it's the good team. It's not the team that we've seen for 3 weeks in a row prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
there's nothing, after this past game, there's nothing that indicates to me that team is going to show up But again, I've been let down before.
Yeah, and like you're saying, like which team's going to show up? We heard Pat Pete, before the Colts game saying, "Hey, we know this is a playoff game. We're treating it like a playoff game," and we saw the egg they laid on that game across the board.
Yes.
We don't want that type of performance, man. We want the team that's actually playing like it's playoff games, not like they're talking like they're going into playoff games. So if they can keep this going, the way all three phases of the game are going, the way that offense is clicking, the line, the quarterback, the receivers, the tight ends, that's what we need. If we can get that kind of offensive performance and just even like the defensive performance we put up against Seattle, which wasn't they left some players on the field, but I'll take that. They gave up points, but they made the stops that they needed to make. That's a formula for winning success because now the offense is scoring more points, and I think the defense can take more chances now because they know they can be a little bit more aggressive because the way the offense is moving up and down the field, I think that it's going to make maybe the defense is going to, take a, go back and look at the film and go, hey, we can be more aggressive now and correct some of the mistakes they made against Seattle.
Yeah, and
because Gina was bouncing around that pocket, they had a lot of pressures against them. They just weren't able to bring them down. You don't want to do that against Lamar because he'll beat you with his legs.
Yeah,
and
that's what somebody made a great point. I was watching some highlights and somebody was analyzing the Ravens last night, and they had said that Lamar Jackson, he's not the best quarterback in the league, but he's the best athlete out there. Yeah. And you know what? That's what scares me about him. It's his athleticism. And and again, this guy, they tend to hide him from us. He doesn't have the best numbers against us.
Yeah.
I'm not scared. I just, my concern is that the right Steeler team shows up on Saturday to play this football game. I think we got a big indication also yesterday, guys, on something very interesting in this game. Referee Brad Allen and his crew.
I saw that.
Oh,
now, this is the crew, obviously, that was at that messed up the Detroit-Dallas game this past weekend. They've been banned from the playoffs. They're not going to be refereeing any playoff games. But however, they are back on NBC. They are going to be reffing the Steelers-Ravens game. Now, my other concern is this. Does this open the door for something disastrous to happen to the Steelers?
Yes. It does. That was my big concern when I saw it yesterday on Twitter was we're going to get screwed somehow.
Right.
One way or the other, we are going to get screwed out of this game. I don't know how, but we are.
And this team of this crew of referees, they're already out of the playoffs. It isn't like, you know what I mean? So if there's a screw up, it isn't like I don't trust this. I don't trust this crew. I don't trust this crew. What's the chances we get for this game, this caliber team, the number one seed, a team that's trying to fight their way into the playoffs, and you get that particular crew? I don't like this. I don't like it at all, guys.
I see a ticky-tacky call against Joey Porter Jr. We saw that 2 weeks ago when the receiver touched Porter and then Porter touched the receiver, then the flag came out. I see something along those lines happening again. Or we've been running that rub route more, the pick route that teams run it against us all the time and it's hardly ever flagged. We run it. It's like 50-50 when we get flagged or not. I have a feeling Baltimore's going to get away with that. At some point in the game, we run that exact same play and then we get called for it. And that's going to be a huge turn. Look for no holding calls against Watt. I don't know if you saw this stat, but
I did. Yes.
Do you have it in the notes?
Yeah.
But yeah,
kind of crazy.
Yeah, like Watt's only drawn 2 holding penalties all year. Get out of here. Get out of here. So look for him to look. No calls there. This ref crew, they got nothing to play for, man. You want to talk about like Mason Rudolph has nothing to play for. He's letting it all out there. This ref crew has nothing to play for. They're going to let all the bad calls go, make all the wrong calls. They have nothing. This is their Super Bowl. They are going to show why they are the worst crew in the NFL. That's just, I'm afraid of that, man.
Of course, what Mike is referring to, the holding penalties this season on Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and Micah Parsons breaks down like this. As often as it seems that these 3 gentlemen get held, this season, total times a penalty was called for holding against these guys Myles Garrett 4 times, TJ Watt 3 times, Micah Parsons 2 times this whole season. Holding penalties were called on these 3 guys. It's unbelievable. So those are my 2 concerns, guys. My main concern is which Steeler team shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And my second other main concern is this referee crew. We've been screwed by referees many times, and people always say that, but go back to the Detroit Lion overtime game back in '98 and go from there and just work your way up. And you could go back and find video that proves what we're saying, and it's not just
I forget what year it was. The Steelers were trying to make a playoff run. I swear they had like 3 or 4 apologies from the league that year. Official apologies of we blew
what
this call.
apologies should turn into?
And those were all game changing. We lost the game because of those
what these
calls.
Apologies, what really needs to happen, because apologies means nothing. These apologies should convert into getting the call down the road at some point. If you're in a situation where there's a ticky-tacky call, then somewhere down the road they make it work, they make it right. Yeah. That's what should be done. Apologies are stupid. They're dumb. How many times has something bad happened? And as you said, they come back and say, you know what, we apologize. We missed. That means nothing. Who cares? Don't even apologize at that point, because you screwed everything up. Nobody cares if you apologize.
Yeah, I can't remember what year it was, but it's like the early to mid 90s. It's like 3-4 games in a row they got apologies. Like, that doesn't help the record, So. Yeah, I just have a feeling we're going to get screwed. If things are going to fall our way, Buffalo's going to lose, and Jacksonville's going to lose, and then we're going to get screwed out of calls.
Oh, absolutely. We'll get screwed the very first game of the weekend. We'll lose, and then everything will go our way afterwards. Buffalo will lose, Jacksonville, everything. Yeah. That's just how this league is working these days. I have a theory that I told you the other day. It's the follow the money. Following the money very rarely leads you astray. This league was very predictable for 20 years. The Tom Brady era. What was more predictable than the NFL? What was more predictable than this guy going to the Super Bowl 10 times out of 20 years? Las Vegas lost a lot of money during that time period because of how predictable it is. All of a sudden, look how unpredictable every single game is in this league. It's follow the money trail. It never, ever will lead you astray, guys. So I'm very, very skeptical, and I'm very worried about this officiating crew for this game on Saturday. With that being said, Tennessee Titans head coach, former Pittsburgh Steeler Mike Vrabel, says if he has his way, the Steelers will make the playoffs because the Titans plan on ruining the season for their division rivals. Guys, they play the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is one of the games that we do need, So all on board with Coach Mike Vrabel, guys.
I'm loving it. I hated him when he was a New England Patriot, but now I love him. I love him as the coach of the Tennessee Titans. And don't forget, if you believe in these sort of things, the curse of the terrible town.
Yeah. Which they both fall under. So I don't know who
Hey, they haven't Tennessee hasn't disrespected the town in a while.
That's right. Okay? They still suck from the last time. So maybe, just maybe.
And Jacksonville's in the midst of that curse. So we need that curse to keep going.
We're like 2-5 since then.
Hopefully the guys on Tennessee are buying into Vrabel's thing of, we're going to help the Steelers make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Or beat the message in like, hey, these are our division rivals. Let's screw them over. Let's keep them out of the playoffs.
That's the vibe that I was getting from what was said.
That's what you need. You need that vibe because I don't understand why Harbaugh is not telling his guys that. Let's knock these guys out of the playoffs, man. Let's show them we're the
probably because they're already sitting pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's a respect thing there, but I'm all on board. Mike Vrabel whooping some Jacksonville Jaguar ass, baby.
Another thing, Broderick Jones, message to the league, message to the playoff teams around the league. Slip up and let us in, and we will kick the door down. That is basically saying, go ahead, let us in the playoffs. This team will be making some noise if that happens, guys. And as we said, as crazy as this year has gone, we're one game behind the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
If we go to the playoffs, we're going to either be playing the Chiefs or the Dolphins, which don't sound ideal. But in this season, anything is possible. This team that was so bad, this Pittsburgh Steelers team, nobody knew what was going on. They had all these problems. You get in and they beat one of these teams. That's good for football.
That is great for football. And I would love for it to be against Kansas City Chiefs. We went into Seattle's Lumen Field, loudest stadium in the league. did not affect us at all. Mason Cole had one bad snap. Mason Rudolph was calm, cool, and collected. Hell yeah, take us down to Kansas City with the second loudest stadium in the league, and I think we would have a chance.
The thing is about this Kansas City team, they're as beatable as they've been.
This is the
for
time to
many
play
years, right? This is the time to play them, or this Kansas City team will somehow turn it on in the playoffs and go all the way.
I was talking to one of the guys at work, like, what's this be the game if the Steelers make it play them? Kadarius Toney catches every single pass third to him.
It'll be the big turnaround in their season.
Kelsey's playing like he's 24 again. It's something like that will happen.
So, guys,
but again, hey, I'm living in my delusions. We're going, baby. We're going to Kansas City and winning.
But again, I'm not sure. I don't know.
We got to win. We got to win this week.
Are we going to have to play the Ravens starters? We're going to be playing the Ravens backup, or are we going to be playing these referees again? The crew that screwed Detroit over the weekend last week. Yeah. Those are my three concerns. I'm very, very concerned about those things. But again, the Ravens Steeler game always comes down to the end. If they don't play their starters and the right Steeler team shows up, not team that showed up through 3 weeks that we lost those 3 games. We need the team with the mentality. Again, it doesn't come down to the quarterback with me. Of course, I think the hot hand does play into this a lot. It comes down to the mindset, preparation, strategy, getting ready for this game and making this the most important game of your season. As I joked yesterday and said, as Cleveland turns Pittsburgh into their Super Bowl every year, this kind of has to be our Super Bowl.
It kind of has to be. And like nothing, resets the focus like Ravens week.
Yeah.
The Steelers are always locked in on Ravens week. They never come out flat against Baltimore. So it's like the perfect opponent to have at the end of the year. Another big concern for mine going into this game is, they don't have Mark Andrews, but they have a pretty good backup tight end in Isaiah Likely.
Oh, yeah.
He came out of the draft I think 2 years ago. He's one of the guys I was like, when I saw he went to Baltimore, I was like, this is not good, because he was a good tight end, come out of a smaller school, and he's developing into a nice little pass catching tight end down there without Mark Andrews. And he's filling in that void. So once again, a tight end, we have to worry about, and the officials, and or we're going to come out, focused and ready to go.
You just think, when a team is good and they're good from top to bottom, like the Ravens are, it puts me in mind of those teams like when the Steelers would make the playoffs and you get that last game of the season against the Browns. And our second team would come in and beat the Browns just because they have a good team. We had a good team top to bottom. They're a good football program. It's a good football team. So, there are many concerns. However, I'm still optimistic about this football game, guys. I do think that we can win. But things do have to go our way. So there are obstacles. It's not cut and dry as optimistic as I'm trying to be. Again, which Steeler team shows up? Again, which Raven players are going to play? Again, what the referee crew, the scandal, the crew from last week with Detroit, and everything that we just talked about goes into this particular game. So much, guys, and all those things that we need to have happen in our favor for us to get into the playoffs. There's a lot of things that but the one thing that we can control is showing up with the right mentality, being prepared, and again, making this game be the biggest game of your season.
Yeah, and I think they are going to show prepared. I don't know if you caught the audio clip from NFL Films, but Tomlin on that last drive, talking to Sullivan on the headsets, like, we're not going conservative. We're driving down the field.
It was nice to see him not look dead. I mean, he's always
and he looked over at George. It's like, he's like, George, be ready. We need you. Get us where we need to be. In the first play out of that 2-minute warning was that quick pass to George. So like this is the Tomlin that you and I have been talking about all off season, how he looked motivated and energized.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think anything can happen. I think it's going to be a crazy game again. Going back to this referee crew, I can't look past that. That is one of the things that I think, and I hope that it doesn't dictate the way this game goes. Because I do think that we have a chance. Yeah. And again, we are 6 of our last 7 against the Ravens. Yes, they are red hot right now, but yes, they're probably not going to be playing everybody. They're going to want to focus. And as Harbaugh said, they want to they're focusing on both the playoffs and the Steelers right now. That's a good sign for the Steelers.
That's a good sign too, because you can say you're focusing on both, but that's when you tend to slip and look ahead. And that's what surprised me about him saying that. It's like,
say they lose. At the end of the day, it's a who cares situation for them because it's on to the playoffs. They get the next week off. They then prepare for the lowest possible seed.
Yeah.
Again, there's just so many things that could happen, but I'm feeling optimistic, guys. I think we could win this. I think we could be 10-7. I think we could go to the playoffs. I think we could possibly win a game. And I think if we're the lowest seed at that point, you could end up getting the Baltimore Ravens the very next game. Um, and
I'm
again,
okay with that.
out of everybody, I'm okay with that. That is the one team that we're built to beat. We built, 6 of the last 7. One more time, I hate to keep saying that. And yes, Huntley was the quarterback in some of these, but you know what? So was Lamar. The games that Lamar played and the games that he didn't, he was hurt or they kept him. Whatever it was, I am feeling optimistic. Derby, how are you feeling about this game? Are you optimistic or?
I try not to say things as much because it ends up good.
Derby's just keeping it close to the vest.
But I'm optimistic. I'm very optimistic because they are the Pittsburgh Steelers. And down the stretch, we always find a way to win.
I think Derpy's a little nervous because Hollywood Derpy, we always, call him Hollywood Derpy. Well, the Epstein list is coming out today, which I'm just chomping at the bit. I gotta find out who's on this list. And I think Derpy, he just has a little nervous tone in his voice.
Yeah, so. Hollywood Derpy. I don't want to cast aspersions, Derpy, but I'm not bailing you out on this crap.
but
real quick, man, like Lamar Jackson, first game against the Steelers, he, 236 yards, 22 of 38, 1 pick, no touchdowns. He 6 rushes, 45 yards. We kind of kept him in check. So
absolutely.
I like our chances.
Let me give you some more numbers. Mason Rudolph in his 2 starts, 64 points scored by the Steelers, 865 yards on offense, 10 red zone trips. That's 25% of their season total. 68.6 completion percentage, 7 offensive touchdowns, no turnovers, and a 2-0 record. I think
not bad.
If the Ravens don't care about this game in a sense, and they do look past us, which they should be, we could get a team maybe that it was similar to the Seahawks or the Bengals, or a team that's just not that good or that into the game. And I'm not cowering from the Ravens, but I'm looking at all the possibilities.
I want the best possibility.
I want the best possibility to win. Right.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't want the Ravens best,
No, the Ravens best interest is not. Yeah, it's not even in my list of.
I don't want their but Kyle Hamilton, you're questionable. Take the day off, buddy. Marlon Humphrey, Patrick Queen, all questionable. Rest. Zay Flowers, rest. Okay. Kevin Zeitler, their starting guard. You need a little rest. Anyone who's questionable, take the week off.
Need them in the playoffs.
Yeah, minimum of 50 passes. Let me give you some more Mason Rudolph statistics here. In the NFL, Mason Rudolph has the highest passer rating this season amongst quarterbacks with a minimum of 50 pass attempts with a 115.3. Second, Brock Purdy with a 113, and Dak Prescott with a 104.2. Again, numbers are just numbers. He hasn't played as long as these guys, but it's a lot of fun to maybe build a little bit of confidence within the fan base. And maybe that will reflect on the team, and the team will, so there's a lot going on, guys. I don't have any question, Mike, moving into this next segment, that he is the guy that we should roll with. There's no there's no question in my mind. It's 100% out of the, he is the hot hand. And again, you're hopefully more than likely not going to be getting a top Ravens team. You're going to be getting a lot of backups. If you get starters, you're going to get them for a short period of time, I believe. And so we got to be able to take advantage of things like this. But Mike, that does take me to what we're going to talk about next. Is the controversy here, what's gone on since we got off the air yesterday. So now the rumors, the blob, he's of course the Hawaiian blob that I talk about sometime. He says this was the first quote that I seen yesterday. Quote, just got told that Pickett 100% refused to be the backup. That the Steeler writers know that, but they won't write it.
Yeah.
So somebody somewhere, or he's just trying to get people worked up. I can't. Okay. So the blob says this.
Yeah.
Now, in response, Kenny Pickett says, or he denied the rumors and refused to. He denied the rumors that he refused to be the backup in Seattle. And there is a long write up. I mean, we could go into the graphic if you want. We could read it. But then the blob says, my story has been 100% consistent. Unlike the Steelers stories over the years, Pickett lied. Pickett lied. He comes out blatantly says Pickett lied.
Yeah, I first heard this before the tweet came out. I was listening to
let me finish what
I got.
Go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. Yeah,
because I kind of have it. All right, I kind of have it in order.
Go.
Let's see. So then, the blob says, of course, Pickett is going to lie, and of course, you guys are going to believe him. And finally, somebody with an ounce of brain says Tomlin has indicated there's no problem. Kenny says there's no problem. The two people within the conversation, Mike Tomlin and Kenny Pickett, have given no indication that there's a problem. Yet the blob has all these interesting things to say, and he's calling people liars, and he's saying that the media is stupid and we're stupid because we're going to believe him. So do what you want with that. I know what I'm going to do with that. But Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, the first I heard of this, it was before the tweet came out, was listening to one of the radio stations, and they played the clip from the morning show, and Mark Caboli, he was the one who initiated all this. He's the one who said the decision to not dress Kenny was not Tomlin's call. Like, Tomlin was not the one who made the decision. So then it became, the follow-up question was, well, who made this decision? And then Caboli responded along the lines of, there's things you know you can report, and things you can report. And he said, if I knew I could report this, it would be all over The Athletic right now. So the Caboli knows what happened. And then other reporters are hinting at, yeah, we kind of know what's happening. And then Madden comes out with his saying, hey, I'm hearing from, and they're not saying it, and I am. So there was smoke there. There's sources there. But what was actually the truth? Was Kenny refusing? Did Tomlin tell Kenny, hey, if you're healthy enough to play, you'll play, knowing deep down inside you're not playing anyway? We're just not going to tell you that we're benching you for the most part, making you number two. So there it's like, is there smoke? Is there fire? Miscommunication, sources not being accurate.
The thing is, what we do know is we don't know. At this point in the game, we have no idea what the blob knows. He keeps coming out and saying all these other things. There's so many things I know. I know this. If it ever comes down to it, I'll expose. The blob is he's so much talking. You just never know with him, and that's why I'm having a hard time trying to understand and trying to figure out who is who's being deceitful, who's being honest. If somebody doesn't know that they're being on or deceitful, I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, you parse Kenny's statements is like, if I'm healthy enough to play, blah blah blah, I would have been the starter. One of the things he said too. But you're healthy now and you're not the starter, so that's like also adding things to the fire, like fuel to the fire. It's like you're from Kenny's mouth is, I'm healthy enough to play, I'm the starter, but this week you're healthy enough to play, but you're number two on the depth chart. So it's
could something have been misconstrued?
Something could have been misconstrued.
I mean, maybe it wasn't deceit. Maybe
tell a friend, tell a phone, tell a sports reporter,
tell a blob, right?
It gets, sources get mixed. Hey, I heard this. You're the last one to hear it, because they know this one. I'm hearing it from sources. I can say it out on my show. Whereas other people, if they hear it and they have that source, if they write about it, they can lose their credentials. The Steelers can be like, know what? We don't like what you printed, and you're not coming back into our locker room. So they have to play it close to the vest there too. Hence the things we know, things we can report, and things we know we can report. And this kind of fell into the things that but you don't want to report.
Kenny says, quote, Rudolph seized the opportunity, and I will support him as a backup on Saturday, is the official quote that I got from the horse's mouth. So again, this is for you to call it home, make your own
Yeah.
opinions. I know the blob, I know Kenny, I know where I'm going, but that is on you ultimately because I have no definitive answer. I don't know. There's somewhere something is being mixed, messed.
Yeah.
There's the answer isn't out there for us to know just yet. We're going to continue to follow the story and see what's said and see what we could find out and try to base
Yeah.
our opinion off of that. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know,
Because
Mike.
if and Kaboli was, he said it on his show. There are other reporters that I saw on Twitter alluded to knowing what was happening, but won't reshoot either way. And that's what's frustrating. Like if you
Yeah.
know, but you don't want they don't want to lose their sources in the team. They don't want to lose their press pass. So people who know the truth one way or the other aren't going to say anything because they don't want to lose the access.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Because
Wow.
this is something like you need to know. Like if it didn't happen, like you said, maybe it was a miscommunication. That would be nice to know. If Kenny did do this, it would be nice to know.
Who was
If,
Kenny
who
supposedly
lied
said this
who,
to?
That would be nice to know.
Who was it that Kenny supposedly said this to?
Like no one, I don't know.
Because
So
that's the important question. If we
'cause
don't know that person even
Yeah,
exists,
because what I
sounds like
know from what I'm hearing is like Kaboli reported that Mark Kaboli reported that hey, it
you
wasn't
need to
Tomlin's
track that
call.
source.
It wasn't. Yeah, it's like who told Kabali, or was Kabali there? Did he hear it, or does he just know like, hey, it wasn't Tomlin's call to not dress him? So does that mean did it come from Omar Khan? Did it come from Rooney? Did it come from Kenny himself? Did it come from the medical staff? No one
That's
wants the people in the know don't want to report it. And
well,
that's
the thing is,
what
I
the
mean, it's such a
frustrating part is.
stupid thing because you could get to the answer
Yeah.
immediately if you
Yeah.
track down the source, go to go to Kaboli, see where you got this information and follow it. The thing is, the answer is there. Somebody knows the answer,
Someone knows. Yeah.
and
I'm saying like how
the
I heard
only
it. This is
and the
way
thing is, I mean,
yeah.
people could debate this till they're blue in the face for the blob or for Kenny. The only way that you're going to find out is if you go to the person that came from their mouth. So beyond that, whether it's just being used as a story, I think this is counterproductive from what the Steelers need, no matter who it's about. At this time, at this point, here we are. We're Wednesday, just 3 games away from basically a playoff game. You win, you move on. You lose, you go home. So again, I kind of look at it as a distraction, which it doesn't surprise me from the blob because he does this, but I don't know. I don't have an answer. So again, go to the horse's mouth that it came from. That's the answer. If they can't do that or they can't produce that, then I don't, there's no way for us to know.
It's sports reporting. You guys aren't covering the Pentagon. You aren't covering the UN. You don't need like secrecy. No, it's sports reporting. You're one step up above, dirt sheet writers for wrestling. Okay. This is not high stakes drama.
Right.
But people just don't want to lose access. So it's going to be, we can't say this. We know the truth, but we can't say it because we'll lose access. It's what it all sounds like.
Yeah. Instead of being, responsible,
If
journalists,
you're passing along, source, if you're being a source for someone and that someone says it, no matter who it is, and you burn that person, that to me, that doesn't look bad on the person reporting it because you're trusting your sources. That means you're a bad source.
Or you're keeping the bad source in the game and you're allowing a person who's making things up so that's that. I really have not much more to say. I'm more about the game. I can't really get my mind off it. I'm thinking of the game. I'm thinking of the referee crew that's involved. It's kind of scaring me. I'm thinking of the backups that they're going to be playing. So much going on than to be talking about with the backup quarterback and the blob is arguing about right now. But it is a big story. So I did want to make sure that we touched on that.
Touch on it, because it's just so when I first heard it happen, I'm like, heard it on the radio. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then you see it on Twitter. A couple more reporters are alluding to it. Then the big bombshell came out. Like, sports reporting. There's no one more self-involved.
Big Ben said when Mason Rudolph was drafted, Big Ben offered Rudolph advice when he was drafted, and he didn't want it. Did you catch this story?
No. Oh, no. Big Ben.
So Ben has to. These guys, they just need to calm down this week. Come if the season's over next week, come out with all your bullshit.
I think Ben's poking the Mason bear because he wants Mason to have that fire in his belly.
I hope he has.
Who knows Mason better right now than Ben? They were teammates for a while
As
now.
long as Mason doesn't come out wearing them overalls, holding that fucking pineapple.
Oh, that is great, baby.
Oh yeah. So a couple other things, guys. TJ Watt. There you go, everybody. Big TJ Watt news yesterday. He gets voted as the team's MVP once again. This is the fourth time, Mike, fourth time, Derpy, that he was voted by his teammates to be the team MVP. Out of everybody this season, I don't understand how TJ Watt is the team MVP. Yes, he has a lot of sacks, no two ways about it. Yes, he leads the league, but there's a lot of times during the game you're left questioning yourself, saying, is this guy all that he's cracked up to be? He's really good at what he does.
Great pass rusher.
He's a great pass rusher.
I'm running at him all day long.
Exactly. On the other, the other 90%, whatever it is, percent of the game, he's not so effective. So, do you agree, Mike? Would he be your team's MVP? And if not, who would be?
That's what I'm thinking about. Like, who would my alternate MVP would be?
I think you got to look inside that running game. I think you have to look at one of the guys in the backfield, and that's just my honest opinion because even whenever we weren't consistent running the ball, he was consistent running the ball.
Yeah.
When he got his opportunities and he got his touches, he made the most of it. The guy played his ass off more than anybody that I see personally on the football team. I would say that guy was the most valuable player on this team this year. But
yeah, he was the driving force of the offense for a while there until these last couple games. Once Najee's come up, picked up the pace, and the O line he's been the most consistent offensive player. When given the ball, he's made the most of his opportunities.
Derpy, who do you think? Who would you think falls in that category for you? Who would be the team's MVP?
TJ Watt.
Would you? Okay.
That's fair. Great pass rusher, good in coverage. But come on, like how many times in this last game? Sorry, Derpy, but how many we saw 2-3 plays in a row where he lost contain on the edge and allowed Geno Smith to scramble out of the pocket.
Yeah.
You're right.
Like,
GP.
George Pickens.
Yeah. I mean, come on. If he would have had himself a competent quarterback from day one to now, who knows what his numbers would have been, guys.
God, he'd be chasing Tyreek Hill.
Like if he was in one of these situations that these other guys are in, and he had that offense, and he had that quarterback, and he had that playbook, who knows? George Pickens, he might be the best. I think that he's a safer bet than TJ. Again, I think once you really dissect TJ, you understand what it is that we're saying and why he shouldn't be the MVP. I'm not saying he's not good. He's really good at what he does. Again, he leads the league in sacks, but
he's becoming more and more one-dimensional as his career goes.
Yes, absolutely.
Where, the early half of his career, you can count on him to stop the run.
He had that long arm that he would just reach the whole way across the backfield.
Like now he's running himself out of the play.
Right.
It's like it's almost like he's not trusting the back end coverage to stay in coverage long enough for him to get to the quarterback.
You remember what I'm talking about? Like he'd break through, and then his long ass arm would go clear across the line, grab a foot, and
I think he had one of those plays this week too, and it might have been last week. We both commented, we were watching the game together, like this is what he needs to do more.
With his long ass
he needs
arm.
to get back into that and to being a good run stuffer where he was. But I think he become accustomed to Cam being able to shut down the run on that side, but now Cam can't do that the latter part of his career.
Speaking of Cam, Chris Hoke, former nose tackle of the Steelers, former Super Bowl champion with the Steelers, he made a comment about Devin Bush.
Oh, good.
On his okay, well, let me make the correlation for you to Cam here.
I want to hear this.
Chris Hoke says he was not impressed by Devin Bush's 17 tackle performance. He had a lot of JOPs, which are called jumping on the pile. The players call it jumping on a pile. If that isn't Cam Hayward's career in a nutshell, I mean, the JOPs that this guy has, that's what his whole career consists of. But Chris Hoke certainly makes a good point, because I think five were tackles and the other 12 were assisted tackles.
Yeah, they were assisted tackles. You're just like, well, what's an assisted tackle? Like, what's a hit in hockey?
Right.
It's so.
And there he was. He was just.
I call it for me, it's the Junior Seau special. He would always run over, tap a guy in the pile, do his little dance, and the announcers would go crazy.
Right.
And like the play's already over. And that's the Cam Hayward special. And, the Devin Bush special. The jumping on pile. The jop.
Another interesting set of numbers, guys. Get this. Carolina Panthers, they got shut out this week. We needed them to win, which we knew wasn't going to happen.
No.
But when they got shut out, they were the second longest tenured team that hasn't been shut out now. They haven't been shut out since 2002. Ooh. 2002, that's 342 games. 342 games, and they finally got shut out. So now the number one team and the number two team in the NFL for the longest time since they've been shut out, the Baltimore Ravens, the longest, 351 games. They also haven't been shut out since 2002. Pittsburgh Steelers, number two, they haven't been shut out since 2006. That's 278 games, guys, since the Pittsburgh Steelers have been shut out. So with the Carolina was number two, taking the shutout L to Jacksonville last week knocks them out of that. Now the Ravens haven't been shut out since 2002 with 351 games. Steelers, the second team, 2006 with 278 games since they've been shut out. So that's pretty impressive, man.
Hey, hopefully after this week we can jump up into that number one spot. Let's defense go out there and pitch a shutout.
Well, the way I'm thinking is, I think Cowers last year was 06, so it seems to me that Mike Tomlin has never been shut out. If I'm looking at this right,
that's insane.
So with his, you could say,
another false record for him to go after.
Right. So there, people could say that all
he's never been shut out.
All he has is winning records. He's never been shut out. I could be wrong, but that's the way the numbers look to me. 06 would have been Cowers last year, and that was the year that they've been shut out last. So do what you want with that. I think it's interesting. They haven't been shut out in 278 games, guys. Second longest in the league.
Ain't not bad. What you figure, like, especially now, like the kicker that they have, the kicker that we have, you're going to find a way to score 3 points at least.
Yeah, right.
You figure like the offenses that we have had, and even them too. It wasn't not a big Joe Flacco fan, but they had weapons on those teams. So
yeah. Nuts. So those are, there you go. Once again, the AFC North guys, lot.
They're the kings of football, baby.
Kings of the North, like Joey Porter says.
Best division in the best division in football. Look at the records. The most competitive division in the NFL.
Absolutely. Derpy, who would you rather play? Say the Steelers sneak into the playoffs this week. Would you rather play the Chiefs or would you rather play the Dolphins?
Whatever sets us up to go against Baltimore in the second round.
Well, yeah. I mean, as long as we're the lowest possible seed. So if we go into 7 and we win, we will get Baltimore in the second round no matter what. Yeah. There is a possibility that if we win and get in, we could be the 6 even, depending on what Buffalo does. Mm-hmm. And that would put that team playing Baltimore second. So, ultimately we would have to go in that very last seed and win a playoff game to get Baltimore again. So that's that'd be the route that you want, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I sure as hell don't want to get the Browns in the second round.
Oh God, no. God, no. I want to get I'd rather play Casey in the first round. No.
When Kansas City first?
Kansas City first, Avenge that embarrassing playoff loss from how many years ago when they whooped our asses. That I want to play them because they're beatable this year. They are very beatable. They look like they are not going to be able to just flip that switch, turn it on come playoff time. Because
speaking of the playoffs, remember we lost to the Browns. They were winning 28-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah,
I don't. That's what I'm saying.
Marquise Pouncey set the tone that game.
Yeah, man.
And then he cried on the bench.
Let's see, guys. We did get a chance to yesterday because there's so much going on. I do want to grade the game from the other day. Let's go over a few other things first. I want to just kind of get through here. ESPN apologizes for airing a woman exposing her breasts during the Sugar Bowl. Guys, they were down in New Orleans. They come back from break. The camera's showing the people. The woman looks up. She pulls down her shirt and exposes her breast, which I think is awesome and amazing, and it should be done more on TV. But
you should be warned.
Stigmatizing the culture of a people In this day and age, ESPN, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You know, you go down to Bourbon
Shame
Street.
on you.
Yeah, that
This is
street
what's
is
going to
known for that.
happen. Okay, this is what they do.
Let the regular people have something. Fuck.
Yeah.
Leave us alone. What else, guys? Also in college, last night, college basketball, Pittsburgh loses to North Carolina. North Carolina comes to town and wins 70-57 over Pitt.
Ooh.
Carolina is now 10-3. Pitt drops to 9-5.
Yeah,
Next
they're having a
action
rough
for
one.
the Panthers is at Louisville on Saturday at noon. And again, as I mentioned yesterday, they play Duke next week, so it doesn't get much easier for this Pitt basketball team. Also, Mike, in the NHL last night, the Penguins back at it with the Washington
It was rough.
Capitals, the big rivalry.
Yeah.
The Penguins lose this game 4-3, drops the Penguins to 18-14-4. Capitals are up to 18-11-6. The goal scorers for the Penguins were Crosby, Gensel, and Raquel. In this, I don't know if he passed it, Mike, or he tied it, because he tied it at one point and then he ended up getting 2 points total. I just don't know what the progression was, but he passed or tied Joe Thornton for 12th all-time scoring points with 1,539 points.
Yeah,
Do you have
I
any
think Derpy's right. I
clarification
think
on that?
Derpy said he passed. Yeah, so we're trusting Derpy, man.
That's hey, it's a new year, man. We're turning over a new leaf.
Oh God, we're trusting Derpy now. We're screwed.
But so that being said, you guys want to do a little quick grading on the from the game yesterday? I you know, I was gonna just let it go, but it was such a good game, and you know what? We've had so many bad games.
I need to grade the game, baby.
We have to grade the game, guys. Let's do this quick. Well, I'll start with Derpy today. Derpy, we're gonna start with you. We're gonna get your assessment on how you felt the Steelers played this past game against Seattle, position by position. I'm going to start with quarterback with you, Derpy. Derpy, if you were a teacher and you were grading this team as you were grading a classroom, how would you grade the quarterback play for the Steelers just this past weekend against Seattle?
A-.
A-. Interesting. Mike, over to you. How would you grade the quarterback play for the Steelers against the Seattle Seahawks?
I'm going A+. All
right, interesting. Interesting. With the big the plus sign, right? The
A. It was like Ralphie, man.
You played Seattle.
Plus.
Yeah.
Hey, doesn't matter, baby. Results matter.
Devin Bush.
Matter.
That's all you need to know.
Hater, Derpy.
I'm gonna go to the running backs, Derpy. Najee Harris, a big day. He's up for FedEx Runner of the Week. I think you could get on and vote for him now.
A+.
And Jalen Warren, you give the running backs an A+.
Devin Bush.
Devin Bush. Yeah, exactly.
I like how that changes the narrative. Like I like Najee a little bit more than Mason. A+.
Mike, running backs, any different for you?
No, A+ as well. Like a lot of angry runs that game, a lot of hitting the holes that were there for Najee. He's reading that line a whole hell of a lot better now. He's getting those big Alabama holes.
I tell you what, when these two guys are, when they're hitting,
on,
it's something to see.
I just want Najee to be more consistent. That's my biggest problem with Najee. Consistency.
I know.
Do it against Baltimore.
Derpy, tight ends. Tight ends. They were one of the only four. Muth was one of the only four people to catch passes for the Steelers out of all the passes that were caught. Tight ends. What do you grade the tight ends?
B.
Mike, tight ends for you. How do you grade these guys?
I'm going in A. Look at the Najee touchdown run. Look at the three guys pushing him into the end zone. They were all tight ends.
You're right.
They were all
Mount
like
Washington. Yeah. Do you see that?
Oh my God. They were all like a sixth lineman when they were in there. They took this blocking game personally, and I'd love to see it.
Wide receivers, Derpy. Pickens and Deontay, the only two wide receivers that have catches.
A. Because
Mike? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
A, because they both caught the ball. And did something positive.
They both had very nice games. Mike, wide receivers.
I'm gonna go with an A as well. They both had like those two little fumbles that could have been costly, but weren't. And they played they put it all on the line. And then Allen Robinson too. Yeah, he didn't get any passes thrown his way, but you noticed when they went to the big formations, he came in to help block. They took Deontay off, have a little better run blocking in there, and he helped big time too in the run game. So A.
Offensive line, Derpy. How do you feel about the offensive line? And this does not include Cole Holcomb.
Pancake Jones, give me an A.
All right. I thought, yeah, Jones looked good. Mike, what about you? Offensive line. What do you grade these guys?
Give me an A+ as well. My God, very little pressure. That run game, Siamalu and Broderick Jones were just killing people. I love to see it. Love to see it. This is the line that we envisioned all year.
So this offense graded very well for you guys. The first round of the grading went very well. I mean, amazing grade, something like I never saw. But now we're going to go to the defensive side, Derpy, the defensive line. Talking Cam, we're talking Okunjobi. You know, what do you give these guys?
I'll give him a B.
Ooh,
I'm still not confident on that defensive line.
All right, D is pretty generous. Mike, what about you? Defensive line.
I'm gonna go B+.
B and a B+.
Yeah, we got lucky that Kenneth Walker got hurt. He was averaging 5.3 yards carry.
All right, linebackers, guys. The linebackers. This includes the play of TJ. It includes the lack of play from Highsmith. It includes the big play from Herbig. The middle linebackers holding their own. Derpy, what do you give these linebackers?
A- just because of Highsmith.
He takes it down to the minus.
Yep.
Mike, linebackers.
As a whole, yeah. I'm gonna go B+. Yeah, we had a decent amount of pressures. But we lost contain. Gino was able to run. Middle of the field was open.
I'm ready to be impressed by Alex Highsmith.
Yes, on a consistent basis. He's
on a consistent basis.
Consistency.
Because remember when he had the interception and the sack in the one game a couple weeks ago? Everyone had nothing but great things to say. But if that only happens once in every 6-7 games, that's
Can we
not.
swap him out with the Herbig?
What's that?
Yeah, Herbig needs to play more.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
They need a better rotation over there, especially the way Highsmith's going. But they had pressures, but they weren't able to get the sacks. And we make fun of Myles Garrett for it, so we got to make fun of our guys for it too. Got the pressures, but weren't able to finish the play.
Derpy, how about the defensive backs? How do you think these guys did?
Is a B generous?
I think a B is generous. I mean, considering the talent that Seattle has at that position, and we didn't get killed. I mean, there was a few big plays, but all things considered, defensive backs, what do you think?
B.
Go with the B, Mike?
I'm gonna B+, considering who's back there. Elijah Riley, Eric Rowe.
Yeah.
We don't have our heavy hitters back there. Yeah, DK Metcalf had 100 yards, but 0 touchdowns. Touchdowns. They had that 12-yard path to Smith Najigba, but we saw what happened when they got down there and they were going for it, man, passing, man. We shut them down. Great coverage and the great play by Joey Porter at the end there. So, solid B+.
Derpy, special teams, 1 punt. Boswell goes 3 for 3. Nothing really to write home about on the return game, but there was nothing that hurt or killed us. Derpy, special teams.
Boswell's toe. The Wizard of Boz, give me an A, and Harvin, give me an A.
Mike, special teams. I think Derpy gave him an A.
Yeah, I gave him an A.
Okay.
I'm gonna go B+ because we gave up 3. They had 3 kick returns for 82 yards, an average of 27. Balls was not getting deep into the end zone. But I don't know if it was like a win condition or not because their kicker didn't as well. But that's very, very not that is not like Boz. That's very uncharacteristic. So we're gonna get a B+ just because that.
And you even joked during the game, Mike, where you had said that Boz has been getting more action in the past 2 games.
Yeah, I think
because we're scoring that he has all season. So maybe he's just not.
Yeah, I thought his leg would be rested by now, but these past 2 weeks, my man's been kicking a lot, and he's just not used to it. Got to get on that exercise bike more.
Coaching, guys, head coach, coordinators. Coaching, top to bottom. Derpy, what do you give the coaches?
A.
Mike, coaching?
I'm going an A plus, man. Whew,
What?
they had
They've
these.
improved. You could tell that they are trying to improve. And that's the thing.
They are
When you
motivated.
they're motivated. You've seen the 3 games prior to these two. You could see a huge step forward amongst a coaching staff who's now trying to leave that behind, what happened in those 3 weeks, and to prove that, that they belong there and that they are doing their job.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree more. I think that they coached well.
Yeah, the two-headed monster in offense that's I don't know how they do it, but it's working, man.
Yeah. And finally, guys, the overall Derpy. What do you give this team's performance overall for that 30-23 win over Seattle last Saturday? Overall, Derpy, what do you got?
An A.
Mike, overall.
An A as well.
All right, there you go, guys. That is the grades for the week. They graded very well, and you know what? For what it is, it was what it was. We didn't play the greatest team in the world. We didn't play but considering the 3 games we lost prior to these two, I think that you have to go ahead and give these guys a good report card, because I could certainly have went the other way and we could be in a very different position. So let's go with that. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website?
And yeah, real quick, Seattle was playing for a playoff spot as well too, so
yeah,
we gotta factor that in there. The 2Yinzers.com, the number 2 DUMYINZERS.com. Head on over there. You got all of our social links over there, merch stores over there, the blogs over there. The recent one went up yesterday talking about last Saturday's game, and yeah, next one will be up probably previewing the game once we get a little bit closer. The 2Yinzers.com.
And that is our website, www.the2Yinzers.com, for Mike at the Steelers Central Mobile Studio. Guys, we are going to do a Baltimore Ravens trivia question today because the Ravens is who we play. You guys ready? I think that, you know what, there's nobody that we should really know more about than the Baltimore Ravens. So guys, let's give it a go. Mike, Derp, are you ready?
I'm ready.
On the board, here we
go.
Question of the day. Ray Lewis set an NFL record by making how many solo tackles in one postseason? Was it A, 31? Was it B, 41? Was it C, 51? Or was it D, 61 tackles? I'm looking for Ray Lewis set an NFL record by making how many solo tackles in one postseason, guys? 31, 41, 51, or 61. Take a minute to think that over. We are live, everybody, 5 days a week, right here from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you miss us here, you just rather listen to the show, or maybe you're at the gym, your job, wherever, and you could just listen. The show that we do live every day, brand new, we put up on Spotify at 8 o'clock p.m. So every day at 8, go ahead over there. We'll upload it at 8 p.m. You could listen to the show there. Check it out. All right, guys. Question of the day, Baltimore Ravens question. Ray Lewis set an NFL record by making how many solo tackles in one postseason? Was it 31, 41, 51, or 61? Mike, you could choose to take this or defer. You did win the picks this week. Do you want to pass this off to Derpy, or do you want to take a shot?
I'll take it.
All right.
I'm going to go with 51.
51. Is that your final answer?
Yes, I am. Oh, yes, my final answer.
All right.
I don't know if you have
the board lock Mike in place.
But Brian has the comment of the day. 1, Ray Lewis got away with 1 murder.
If the shoe fits.
Which is not incorrect.
Not
Derpy, Ray Lewis set an NFL record by making how many solo tackles in one postseason? Was it 31, 41, 51, or 61? Mike says 51. What do you think?
I think I'm going to go 41.
41. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
All right. Derpy's locked in. Here we go, guys. Ray Lewis set an NFL record by making how many solo tackles in one postseason? 31, 41, 51, 61. Mike says 51. Derpy, you said 41?
Yep.
The answer is 51. 51 tackles in one postseason. So there you have it, guys. Lucky we don't have to face him this week.
Good. Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Mike, anything before we start getting ready to take off?
Um, I got nothing other than let's go Steelers beat the Baltimore Ravens. I can't wait. Saturday needs to get here now.
Derpy?
Saturday needs to get here now.
Ain't that what Mike just said?
And let's
Isn't that what Mike
invade-
just said word for word?
It literally
Yeah,
is what I
no,
said
no.
word for word.
Steeler Nation. Let's invade Baltimore, and let's get those terrible towels going.
I like it. I do want to say thank you, everybody, for checking us out. We appreciate each and every one of you. As always, wouldn't do without you, everybody on the board, everybody at home. Mine is this, guys. I think the debate is a good debate. Who, and I don't want an answer right now because this is a whole segment, but think about this one at home, guys. Who should be the comeback player of the year? Should it be Joe
Ooh.
Flacco, who was on the couch last year, leading this Cleveland Browns team possibly? Who knows how far into the playoffs? They're looking really good. We'll put it to you that way. Or DeMar Hamlin, who was dead and came back. Granted, he doesn't play a lot or have a whole lot of numbers, statistics, great things going on in his game, but he was dead. So when at the end of the season, when they're trying to figure this out, I do know that it is a debate. Some people feel one way, or some people
Mason
feel
Rudolph.
the other. But you know what? And the Mason Rudolph
Hey,
story
Mason's
isn't
like
over yet, so he might be in there as well.
He's
But
searching.
guys, when it comes down to Flacco and DeMar,
That's a tough one.
that is a tough one.
Me too. We'll choose tomorrow.
But guys, anything else before we get ready to take
I
off?
got nothing.
Derpy,
I got
anything?
nothing
Great
else.
show.
All right, guys, great show, everybody. As always, from the for the two dumb Yinzers, Mike from the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, Derpy, myself, everybody have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.